If you're preparing for IVF and wondering how to improve your chances of successful implantation, this episode is for you. We're diving into key strategies like nutrition, stress management, and gut health that can improve the chances of pregnancy success, either if you want to improve your egg quality or create the optimal environment for implantation. Excited for you to listen. Let's go. I'm Sarah Clark, founder of Fertility. For over a decade, my team and I have helped hundreds of couples improve their chances of pregnancy success, whether naturally or through IVF. We specialize in supporting those with low AMH, high FSH, diminished ovarian reserve, premature ovarian insufficiency, and pregnancy and recurrent pregnancy loss through functional lab testing and personalized fertility strategies. Today, we're digging into IVF preparation, especially if you're dealing with low AMH and or high FSH. This episode is for you if you want to understand how low AMH impacts egg quality and IVF success, and how functional nutrition and medicine and our Fab Fertile method can help improve your chances. And you're going to discover the critical connection between gut health and fertility, learn strategies to balance hormones, reduce inflammation for better egg quality, and get actionable nutrition and lifestyle steps from fertility boosting foods and supplements, stress management, and sleep strategies to support your IVF preparation. Thanks so much for listening. I'm so thankful that you're here. Make sure you hit subscribe or follow. If you know someone else who's on the fertility journey, please share this podcast with them. Okay, so let's get into it. So typically for low AMH or high FSH, diminished ovarian reserve, premature ovarian insufficiency, they're going to tell you need to do a medicated cycle, do IUI, do IVF. What I know for sure with functional medicine and functional nutrition and our Fab Fertile method is there's things you can do to improve your chances of either getting pregnant naturally, or if you do need to go to the clinic, getting pregnant with your own eggs. And basically, I've talked a lot about this before, the AMH, so anti-Müllerian hormone, it does not predict your ability to get pregnant naturally. It does not measure your egg quality. It doesn't look at your uterine receptivity. It is used to see how well you'll do with IVF. And although we don't want to be blind to that number, we do want to look at it. Sometimes people find it very triggering. So depending on how we're doing, we may not measure it every month. Sometimes people just get very obsessive about it. So it's important to know the numbers, but not hang your hat on that and think that AMH is the sole predictor of your ability to get pregnant naturally, that your reserve is dwindling and there's nothing you can do. Again, it's a marker used to see how well you'll do with IVF. And we see many people that have diminished ovarian reserve, low AMH and high FSH, and they've gone to IVF and the retrieval hasn't worked. They've had canceled cycles. They've been labeled a poor responder. And there's a lot of frustration, a lot of emotional heartache and anxiety associated with this. And so it is important to be able to prepare your body beforehand. This is what we're talking about, IVF prep. And I think a lot of people, they don't go into IVF having not done anything. So I know you've already made some changes. We need to do this in a very targeted manner. And looking at the underlying reason as to why you are dealing with diminished ovarian reserve or premature ovarian insufficiency or recurrent pregnancy loss, and you've experienced that as well. With functional medicine, functional nutrition, we're looking at the underlying cause of an imbalance. Why are your hormone levels low? Why do you have irregular cycles? Why are you spotting throughout the cycle? Why is your thyroid TSH high? Why is your blood sugar turning the wrong way? So being able to really dig deeper and look at the underlying cause, and then looking at targeted diet, lifestyle, supplement recommendations. I see so many people taking boatloads of supplements, and so supplements can be part of the solution, but we just follow these generalized recommendations. It can not give you the success you're looking for. It takes 90 days for the egg to renew itself. The life cycle of the sperm is 70 to 80 days. So in a short period of time, we can make massive change, but we got to do this in a very targeted manner and addressing imbalances in gut health. And I've done many podcast episodes on the health of the gut microbiome, how if you've got parasites, bacterial infections, fungal infections, something going on in the health of the gut, that directly impacts the health of the ovaries and the health of the sperm. And so we need to be able to address those infections. And we see a lot of couples with a similar gut microbiome, passing infections back and forth. And you just run around in a circle and you're eating a very restrictive diet. You may be taking out gluten. You've tossed out the toxins. You're filtering your water. You're doing yoga. You've stopped doing the running the marathons. You've stop the hot yoga, all these things you've probably done, but you may have not done it in a targeted manner because you've done this generalized approach. So we need to look at your biomarkers, looking at your testing, and be able to fast track this for you. So there's a powerful link between gut health and hormonal imbalance. The gut-brain axis influences your hormonal regulation, and gut imbalances can disrupt fertility, impacting your egg and IVF success. So if you're running in there and you've got H. pylori, we see a lot where people have, and a lot of us have it, but if it's overgrown and gone into a virulence factor, you can eat a beautiful, healthy, organic diet, doing all the things right, but you're not absorbing any of those nutrients. You see a lot of people that are very nutrient deficiency, and you don't need to have the typical GERD or acid reflux symptoms for H. pylori. You could have no symptoms, or maybe your partner has the symptoms and you pass it back and forth. And so it's not about just you doing the testing. He needs to get evaluated as well. And so some signs of gut imbalance, maybe you're dealing with bloating. For years, I had bloating where I'm like tall and relatively thin, and what's this belly going on here? Constipation. I see so many people alternating between constipation and diarrhea. Obviously, there could be a thyroid issue going on as well, but we could have a gut issue, and then those toxins are just circulating in your body. Food sensitivities. I see people doing food sensitivity testing. They become intolerant to all their favorite foods. You go on such a restrictive diet. You need more diversity in your diet, be able to bring most of the foods back in as we heal the gut. Or maybe you're just exhausted. You've got fatigue. You're getting a nice sleep, 8 hours, but you're still tired. Could that be a sign of gut imbalance? And that could be impacting your fertility. You can do these parasite cleanses and all these generalized approaches, but if we test, address what's going on in there, develop a protocol. Our protocol is typically 3 to 4 months. So in a target amount of time, you can make massive change with your health, improve the chances of a successful retrieval, improve the chances of a successful transfer, and this implanting, and you having a healthy pregnancy, healthy postpartum period, the health of your child. So I know everyone feels in a rush, and that's my thing as well. I get very impatient. But if you knew it was going to work out, and if we could just have some peace and calm now, trusting the process, not sitting back with your feet up, because that's not you anyways. You're listening to a podcast trying to figure this out, but taking a very targeted approach with it. And looking at the diet that's right for you, adding in some probiotics. We have foundational probiotics that we start out with that can be good. If we are seeing something in your gut test, we need to use probiotics with specific strains. Having anti-inflammatory foods that can help to reduce inflammation, improve your nutrient absorption. We see people with low nutrient status, balance hormones, and all this is going to ultimately improve your egg quality. So when you go and do that retrieval transfer and prepare for your IVF, you're going to have improved chances of it working. And so you want to do some of these things we might know, but some leafy greens, they're high in folate and antioxidants. Those can be good for egg quality. Healthy fats. A lot of us are not eating enough fat. So you want to have omegas from fish, flax seeds, or walnuts. Lean protein. So you want wild-caught fish, grass-fed meat, organic poultry. You can do legumes and eggs. Eggs are a top allergen. So we have people do a 5-day food diary. You eat your regular diet, and then we have you do a 10-day elimination diet, taking out the top allergens, systematically reintroducing them. Send me an email at hello@fabfertile.ca, subject to line 10-day, and I'll send you that 10-day guide. It tells you exactly how to take out the foods, systematically reintroduce them, and you can get going on that right away. And then antioxidant-rich foods, so some berries, blueberries, and strawberries, making sure everything is organic. Vitamins and minerals, you want to making sure you're having a methylfolate prenatal. Do not have folic acid. It's the synthetic form of folate. And you may have an MTHFR gene variant mutation, which 60 to 8% of the population has that. So you just want to make sure you're taking a methylfolate prenatal. We see many people that their B12 actually is high. And sometimes when it's high, it may be the fact that you're not actually absorbing it. So we need to be careful of that. So we like between 800 to 900. So maybe you need more support with your methylation and your B vitamins. That's the genetic testing that we do. So you can really personalize this approach. Vitamin D, I've talked a lot about the fact of having low vitamin D is associated with low AMH in studies. And so is the D low because you have a gut imbalance? We see that a lot. So you're not absorbing all those nutrients. And so supplementing can be part of it, but we want to then address why it's off to begin with, and that can impact are A quality. So you want to avoid inflammatory foods. We do see the theme of non-celiac gluten sensitivity, so gluten off the charts is some of the cross reactors. We typically have people take out gluten and dairy for 60 to 90 days, if not pregnant test. If you want to fast track this, you do the elimination diet, you do the food sensitivity testing, you do the gut testing, you do the genetics testing. We work on mindset piece, and then we decide when or if you need to do a retrieval or a transfer. Maybe you can get pregnant naturally. If the majority of us can get pregnant naturally, why are we all rushing off to IVF? Obviously, it can be there. I had both my kids using IVF, so we're not anti-IVF. We're pro-health. I see so many people spent tens of thousands of dollars, done 20 IVFs, nothing's worked because they've skipped their health. And I shouldn't say skipped, because most people have done something with their health. They just haven't done it in a targeted manner. And maybe they gave up. The gold's on the other side, and we did a partial gluten-free. We looked at our stress, but did we really look at it and have someone else help us around this piece, setting boundaries, being able to really work on the trusting of this process, because there's a lot of uncertainty. We don't really know what's going to happen. So what do we do in times of uncertainty? Maybe we roll up our sleeves and we start researching, and we research night and day, and then we feel we want to control the whole process. And then our nervous system needs to be reset. We're just in the fight or flight. The body is, I got to protect you. This is not time for procreation. So you want to avoid those inflammatory foods, gluten, dairy, processed sugar. All of those can impact your hormones. You want to look at that elimination diet. In the fertility space, they recommend the Mediterranean diet. The thing with the Mediterranean diet, and I'm here in Italy right now, and I am enjoying the Mediterranean diet, I will tell you, because the food, not as many toxins as it is in North America. And so I still avoid gluten here, but I can have dairy, not in massive quantities. I got to pull back on the gelato a little bit, but I can have it here and feel okay. Whereas in North America, I'm not feeling good. I can have a little bit of cheese in North America and some grass-fed butter. The Mediterranean diet, the dairy part was meant to be a snack, not the main course. Some people say, oh, I can't give up cheese. That might be the thing that's causing inflammation in your body. So we need to have you take out dairy and gluten for 60 to 90 days, 100%, no cheating, don't mess around. And really then, as we're doing that, we're healing the gut, we're reducing inflammation, getting the body in the absolute best shape. And so some supplements to consider. So we have, as part of our Fab Fertile method, we start you off with some foundational supplements, which are the methylfolate prenatal. So you want to make sure it's a methylfolate prenatal. We have you do CoQ10. We have you do an omega. All of these can be good for A quality, supporting hormone function. We want to have you and your partner both do that. He's going to do a men's multi, not the prenatal. We're going to do vitamin D3, K2. So that can help with hormone regulation. And we're going to do magnesium glycinate and also a probiotic. So those are some of the supplements we start with. And then the rest of it, we're going to look at your biomarkers and looking at your testing, the food, stool, genetics, and then more of a customized, personalized protocol. Otherwise, I see people taking 20, 30 supplements per day, and they don't even know why. They're taking the evening primrose, we're taking maca, we're taking bee pollen, we're taking NAC, we're taking NAD, we're taking minoxidil, we're taking all these different supplements that we read on some blog that someone said to take, and maybe they aren't right for you. So we need to be very mindful on that piece. We want to help with detoxification, so supporting the liver, doing castor oil packs, milk thistle tea, dandelion tea, Epsom salt baths, lots of water, hydration, and sleep and rest. This is not about you training for the marathon, working more than 50 hours a week, and just pushing yourself as you prepare for IVF. We're not eliminating all stress. That's not practical, but we need to do things in a targeted manner. I feel like I'm on a broken record with this targeted manner, but it is, because otherwise it won't work, and then you won't know why. But if we have the data and we have the information in front of us, we can make informed decisions if or when we need to go to IVF. Looking at the stress management, I've done many podcast episodes on this. I just did one on perfectionism, and we want to control it. We want to over-research it. We want to over-analyze it. And at the bottom of that is fear. It's not going to work. Uncertainty, ambiguity. What do we do in times of stress? In times of stress, you might be like me. You just go into research mode and then drive yourself bananas with this. So adding in mindfulness, adding in slow yoga, hatha, yin, restorative, consider acupuncture. That can really be helpful before and after the cycle. And then also to help with the stress management piece to reduce cortisol levels. So pick something, just pick one thing. Like for me, I like getting out in nature. The view I have right here from this place, I got to tell you, is like the mountains. And in the summertime, there's like little orange trees here and pomegranates. I'm walking around saying, what's those pomegranates hanging off of there? And then obviously all the fruit trees with flowers blooming. So for me, I love getting out in nature. Pick something for you that makes you happy. As we work on a protocol to address infections, then we then want to then go and repair the gut and improve that afterwards. And we need to make sure that we test. So we test and we develop a protocol, and then we want to make sure the protocol has worked. Sometimes we need to do a little bit extra to mop things up, and then we want to repair the gut. I've had a number of people tell me when they ask their REI, hey, does stress matter for IVF? And they've said no. I think that's just insane. Of course, if you're completely stressed about this, it does impact your cortisol levels, which then impacts your hormones. But no one goes into IVF being completely stress-free and just loving the process of having yourself jabbed with all this medication. So we need to be reasonable about this, but then also we need to have done things to get your body in the best shape. And I see so many people that tell me a couple of years ago, I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. I had relationship stress. I had stress with family. There was a move, there was a death, whatever was happening. And now the body is just getting caught up. And then we want to wonder why it's not working. We go and push it with drugs. So you don't have a medication deficiency. The body wants to procreate. So what does it need? We need to nourish your adrenals. If you've got nutrient deficiencies, boost up your nutrient levels. Balance your thyroid. I've talked a lot about the thyroid here. You want to make sure you look at the full thyroid panel, including antibodies. I got people with their TSH 3, 4, 5 being told it's normal. That's not normal. That's not optimal. You want it below 2. We need to look at the full thyroid panel. People that didn't even know they had antibodies to the thyroid. We like the antibodies, the TPO antibodies below 10, the TBG below 30. If yours are trending high, the thyroid starts attacking itself. That could be why the embryo is not making it. That could be why the retrieval is not working. And I just dropped a few weeks ago an episode all about sleep. So go back and look at that one, making sure you're getting your 7 to 9 hours. And if you're a night owl, it's not about you went to bed at 1, now we want you to go to bed at 10. No, we start to, over a period of time, each week, we ratchet it back 15 minutes. Maybe the reason you're up is because you've got the screens on, and the blue light that you're exposed to from your screens makes you feel like it's the middle of the day, and the body's like, I'm not ready to go to bed. That impacts your melatonin production, which impacts your egg quality. Looking at your sleep, like blood sugar, magnesium deficiencies, stress. You could be waking up in the middle of the night with liver issues or blood sugar issues. Maybe you're waking up in the morning with cortisol spikes. If your sleep is off, that's a huge clue. And we don't want to be running into an IVF when we have dysregulated sleep. We don't wait for perfection on all these things, but that could be a clue. And when you're like, wait a minute, nothing's working, I'm going to change the medication protocol. No, that's not what we do. We go back and look at our health. And then if we need to change the medication protocol, we've set a solid foundation, because if the foundation of the house is like built on 3 legs, it's going to topple over. So we need to be able to get that in place. And looking at exercise, I see a lot of people, they were like, I was an athlete. I was a D1 athlete. I was in marathons and triathlons, and I was running and doing a lot of sports. You probably loved it, and that's why you did it. But maybe it was just too much for the body, and those high intensity workouts can have the opposite effect and actually harm fertility. And so I think many people know that, but if you are drawn to that kind of exercise, it can be difficult. So that's probably how you release stress. And so more moderate exercise like walking and yoga or swimming, you got to get your body moving. It's not just about us sitting here sedentary all day long. You need to get moving, but training for the marathon and doing extreme exercise is not recommended. And then consider working with someone that's going to help you on this. If you're feeling that you're over 40, you're on a time crunch, the doctor says that your fertility's fallen off a cliff, and they're pushing you onto an IVF, you want to then prepare your body. It's not just about you getting the water filled, although this stuff is good, but throwing out all the plastic containers and taking a bunch of supplements and journaling and then thinking, hey, you did it all. Well, no, if the majority of us can get pregnant naturally, Why is this not working? So let's look at things and really have a specialist. And using our Fab Fertile method, where we've helped hundreds of people improve pregnancy success with diminished ovarian reserve, premature ovarian insufficiency. People have been told that donor eggs are their only option getting pregnant and having their babies. You want to make sure the person is a fertility specialist. Otherwise, you can just do a bunch of this testing. I see so many people, I've done the Dutch test, I did the GI map test. That's nice, but one-off testing and then a little protocol that doesn't actually address everything and look at all the different factors. I see so many people doing testing, they haven't even changed their diet. Or they've done the mindset work and they're still eating a cheeseburger and they're intolerant to the bread, the cheese. And so it is working with a fertility specialist that understands your diagnosis so you don't waste time. And I'm just thinking of someone here, we got lots of examples, but yeah, with premature ovarian insufficiency. And she actually, before coming to see us, was a vegan. And I've talked about this before. My parents have been vegans for 35 years and they're a lot healthier than some of their peers. But in certain areas, there's nutrient deficiencies. So long-term, the vegan diet can not be good for fertility. We're not married to any specific diet. Carnivore, people are pumping the carnivore diet right now, the keto, the paleo, the vegan. We want the diet that's right for you. So anyways, she was open-minded and decided she wanted to incorporate some animal meats. We're not going to force you to eat meat. If you're like, I can't do it for religious reasons or it doesn't feel right, we then just try to get more protein for you. Or you're taking a whole bunch of legumes and you've got digestive issues and you've got bloating and diarrhea and constipation, and then you're putting all these beans in your body and wondering why, you're having a problem. It's the diet that's right for you. So she changed her diet. We found many gut infections for her, blood sugar, thyroid, a lot of adrenal issues, so stress, mental emotional stress with this because she had a premature ovarian insufficiency diagnosis. And then she worked with us and it was like 10 or 11 months and ended up getting pregnant naturally and had her child. And this is when she was told donor eggs. Like premature ovarian insufficiency is no joke, right? We've helped many people with that. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. These diagnoses can be difficult, but when we work on our health, then we can decide the next steps, either getting pregnant naturally. If we do need to have assistance at the fertility clinic. And we've helped many people to decide that, hey, donor eggs are what we want to do. But we still need to work on our health if we decide to pick donor eggs. There's so many people with POI are like, I'm going to do a PRP, the plasma-rich platelet, and we're injecting inflamed cells into our ovaries, and we're wondering why that's not working either. So each of these medical interventions can be used. We just need to decide, looking at our biomarkers and our testing, when to deploy them. And a lot of the times we bring them in prematurely, they don't work, and then we're just down a rabbit hole of frustration and heartbreak and financial devastation because we spent tens of thousands of dollars on a solution we thought that was going to work. And like we said, it's important to work on your nutrition. Maybe you have nutrient deficiencies, working on your gut health, taking the proper supplementation, those targeted lifestyle changes, and really all of that can then improve the chances of a successful IVF. And if you're ready to improve your chances of a successful IVF, you can send me a message at hello@fabfertile.ca, put subject line fertile, and we will come up with a plan to improve the chances of this working. Thanks for listening and take care.